Whoa, okay, are we really gonna have more Marvel directors directing DC films? Hey, welcome back to the Ping Pong Flix. My name is Chris Wong. First, we're going to talk about the Flash movie. Then we're going to talk about James Gunn's The Suicide Squad. And finally, is another Marvel director talking to Warner Brothers about making DC film. Let's talk about the Flash. Well, apparently Maribel Verdu, who plays Nora Allen in the Flash movie, has finally finished filming her scene. This is what she had to say. Thank you for making me live this experience, Andy Muschietti, and for my farewell to the last day with rainbows included. Photo made by Super Barbara Muschietti, I love them, hashtag Nora Allen. She's done, and we haven't really seen much of her. I mean, this is probably the only pick closest to maybe what she looks like in the film, but in what possibly could be the most tear-jerking emotional scenes of the movie, she's finally done. Now, Michael Keaton, who plays Bruce Wayne or the 89 Batman, is having interviews in regards to his newest movies, The Protege and Worth. Of course, interviewers are really quick to ask him questions about the Flash movie, as he is a big part of that Flash movie, and hoping he could reveal things about the Flash movie. He did talk about his suit and how he felt normal fitting back into the suit, and all these memories were coming back from filming Tim Burton's Batman 89 and Batman Returns. He said he hasn't talked to Tim Burton recently, but there may be some things going on later on, and I'm wondering if that has anything to do with his next Batman feature. Jake Hamilton even asked if he said, I'm Batman yet? And, Michael Keaton kind of just played it off and could not say if he did or not. He did. There's no way he's not going to say, I'm Batman. But he talked a little bit about the Flash movie as well. In fact, he said something very curious about the Flash movie.
Europe, well, here too, but you're like multiplicity.
I love multiplicity.
Yeah, I love multiplicity too. I loved it. I loved making it. It was really hard to make. Try to make that, I just did The Flash, and there's a similarity in how, I don't want to give too much away, but how he has to play against himself and with himself. And we were talking about the difficulty of making multiplicity and the challenge. Anyway.
Now, Multiplicity is a 90s sci-fi comedy starring Michael Keaton. He plays a construction worker who gets multiple clones of himself, and it's really funny, and it's very nostalgic for me. I love that movie. But the way he compares it to the Flash movie is interesting. And I think it's more of him confirming what we've seen on behind the scenes, where the Flash is talking to another Flash. He's playing against himself, and he's interacting with himself from another parallel world. Does he mean that Bruce Wayne, Michael Keaton's Bruce Wayne, is interacting with another Bruce Wayne? Could it be Ben Affleck or another Michael Keaton's Bruce Wayne? But when I listen to the clip again, I feel like he's actually talking about the Flash and not necessarily his Batman interacting with more versions of himself. But then again, this could be a crazy scenario where there's multiplicity of all of these characters, including Michael Keaton's Batman. Makes me wonder, that scene where you see all these babies? I can't remember what those babies look alike or not, but wondering if those were multiplicity of baby. And that's pretty much all he could reveal from the Flash movie. Let's talk about James Gunn's The Suicide Squad. DC Verso revealed some behind the scenes pictures from James Gunn's The Suicide Squad. And behind James Gunn, there seems to be a concept art that shows none other than Slade! Yes, Deathstroke was in the movie? What? And hold on a second, he's actually standing in place of Bloodsport. So that means that at one point in time, Deathstroke was supposed to lead the Team 2, not Bloodsport. Oh man, we just had a great opportunity for Joe Manganiello to come back as Deathstroke. And no, I don't know what happened. Maybe the contracts fell through and he didn't get a chance to be in this movie. Now remember, Joe Manganiello was talking about how Deathstroke was supposed to be in a Suicide Squad movie. I don't know what came of that or not. And I totally forgot about that. I thought that was the David Ayer version of Suicide Squad or Mel Gibson's version of Suicide Squad. But Joe Manganiello was supposed to have been Deathstroke in James Gunn's The Suicide Squad. Now, obviously, we've been talking about how Bloodsport took over Deadshot, and Deadshot was another character that was supposed to be in the movie. And maybe that's why all the silence of who Idris Elba was supposed to play. He signed on, and maybe they weren't sure if they should recast him as Deathstroke or Deadshot. But ultimately, I think they made a better choice by bringing in another character for the DCEU. But it's great to see that they have Deathstroke in mind for all these different projects. And hopefully it's Joe that they want for Deathstroke for future projects. I guess in the meantime, when you're watching James Gunn's The Suicide Squad, you can kind of squint and, Bloodsport could either be Deadshot or Deathstroke. or he could just be Bloodsport. Now let's talk about a potential Marvel director coming in to direct a DC film. No, I'm not talking about James Gunn. That already happened. And you know what? Warner Brothers definitely loved James Gunn enough that they offered him more projects prior to the movie releasing in theaters. This is coming from Giant Freakin Robot. Warner Brothers is in talks with Taika Waititi to direct a DC movie. He's jumping ship from Marvel. We've exclusively learned that Star Wars and Marvel filmmaker Taika Waititi is currently in talks with DC to direct his own film. What? This is nuts. Are you kidding me? Taika Waititi? Thor Ragnarok? Taika Waititi? Now, obviously, as a business decision, I can totally see this actually happen. Now, this is just rumors, and I don't know if this is true or not, but Giant Freakin' Robot had a ton of confirmed scoops this year. And honestly, this kind of makes sense in terms of what Warner Brothers would do. Taika Waititi was in James Gunn's The Suicide Squad. He plays Ratcatcher 1. So ultimately, I think in this scenario, Warner Brothers may have even approached him, asking him, hey, are you interested in making a DC film? Now, there's many reasons why Warner Brothers would ask Taika Waititi, and I think all the evidence points to why they asked James Gunn to begin with. James Gunn made it a successful Guardians of the Galaxy, certified fresh on Rotten Tomatoes, because Warner Brothers cares a lot about what critics think. So when James Gunn was fired from Disney, they swept in and grabbed him immediately and said, here's the keys to DC, what do you want to make? Now that they're calling the Suicide Squad a success and they've already offered James Gunn to come back to do anything he wants, it makes a lot of sense that at the same time they were working on James Gunn's Suicide Squad, they would be approaching Taika Waititi, who delivered Thor Ragnarok to the MCU. Now, I prefer the first Thor movie over the third Thor movie, but you can't discount that the general audience actually loves Thor Ragnarok over the original Thor movie. Certainly critics as well. They had a whopping 93% certified fresh tomatoes for 435 reviews and the 87% audience score with 50,000 plus rating. In fact, I remember at that time, they were saying that Taika Waititi brought a boring Thor into a interesting and funny and exciting Thor. And just like Guardians of the Galaxy, I'm sure Warner Brothers looked at Thor Ragnarok and said, hey, why can't we get that for our heroes? So I'm not a betting man, but if I was a betting man, I would totally bet that Warner Brothers called up Taika Waititi or visited him on the set when he was playing Ratcatcher 1 and said exactly what they said to James Gunn. James Gunn, Superman. James Gunn, Superman. Well, in this case, I'm sure the first thing they offered Taika Waititi was probably Taika Waititi, Superman. Taika Waititi, Superman. The only difference is that James Gunn explicitly wanted to do characters that is not Superman or Justice League, because he said it himself that anybody could probably make a Superman movie, a Justice League movie. There is someone going to make that. But no one's going to make a movie about Polka Dot Man. So James Gunn wanted to make movies about these obscure characters. I don't think Taika Waititi is like that. I mean, he obviously created one Thor movie, and he's in the process of making another Thor movie. So it just feels like if Warner Brothers offered Taika Waititi Superman, he would probably take it. Could you imagine a Superman directed by Taika Waititi? Not saying it will happen, but I'm saying that I bet you they asked him. But I don't know, what do you think about Taika Waititi possibly directing a DC film? Please comment down below.